Hey YouTube, Big Star 1000 back with a Revolutions number 44. And as per usual, I have a stack of records that I've played during this week. And yeah, I play lots of records during the week whenever I can, in the morning, when I get home from work, on Saturday for the whole day. So that's why I always have a huge stack of a playlist there to show you. I've got about 20 records in the box, and obviously I have restarted the Gimme 10, so there's a couple of records in there which I considered for the Gimme 10. I listened to them, but otherwise, as usual, the varied assortment of from one genre to the next, without really any rhyme or reason, which is why I think people like watching these my Revolutions videos, because, well, this is what I get in the comments anyway, that people enjoy the diversity. So diversity, here it comes. This week I went to see The Cure live at Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, which is like this. I mean, if you've heard of the Australian Open, the Tennis Open, this is where they play it. It's a huge kind of, it's a tennis. It used to be called a tennis centre. I mean, people still call it that. And I went to see The Cure. So, before I went to see The Cure, I was playing The Cure. Evidently, that's what you do. It's just to psych yourself up for some gigs. So I chose to listen to The Cure live in concerts in 1985. And this is a spectacular, really, it's an amazing recording. It's a bit like a greatest hits of The Cure in 1985. Now, Shake Dog Shake, which is the first song on the album The Top, was played on Thursday night, which is very cool to hear. And they played lots of these songs, The Walk and A Forest, 10:15 Saturday Night. Not Killing an Arab. Not appropriate these days. Even though it's really not about, anything to do with Arabs. It's more literary reference from the Stranger, the Albert Camus novel. Anyway, I digress. I also played Disintegration, which is one of the best Cure records. And from this, they played Pictures of You, they played Love Song, they played Lullaby, and Fascination Street as well. Yeah, they played. It was like a greatest hits concert, really. I mean, they played everything that you can think of, and they finished off with "Boys Don't Cry," much lower version. I have to say, Robert Smith still has got it. The voice, he hasn't lost the voice at all. And finally, I also played "Wish," which is a fantastic album by The Cure, which I bought a few years back. $10 at cheap CDs, dirt cheap CDs in Melbourne, which doesn't exist anymore. Wish is a great record, and they played a couple of songs from this as well. Anyway, that was a Cure. Moving on. So as I was saying, for the Gimme 10, 1970. Now, if people haven't understood the concept, I just really want to make sure that you understand. The video that I posted is only about the year 1970. It's not about the whole of the 70s, It's about just 70. Next week, I'm going to do 1971, and the week after, I'm going to do 1972, so on and so forth. Okay? It's not the whole of the 70s, okay, people? Calm down. So this is an album that I have really considered putting in the top 10, the top 10 1970, but just it just got pipped at the post by Jim Sullivan. Regardless, this is a fine, fine record, and it makes the top 20 1970 for me. Lorca, it's a seamless fusion of experimental music, jazz and folk music. It's just the I mean, I don't think that a band like Sonic Youth would exist if it wasn't for Lorca. It's a big statement, I know. I'm the king of big statements, and also shortlisted for the 1970 installments was this monster record, and I felt bad not to put a because Black Sabbath put out two great records in 1970, that and Paranoid, and really one of them should be in the list, but them's the breaks, I just don't have enough space. This is classic in every way. From the sleeve is absolutely fantastic. Look at this. It's going to be one of the best sleeves ever. The inner sleeve is cool too. It's it's a stunning record. It's just a stunning record, and highly deserving to make the top 10 of 1970. But there's just too many records to choose from. Too many. Okay, moving on. Just gonna move things out of the way. Earlier this week or last week, Kieran Needle Groove. Kieran, if you're watching, I love your channel. He was talking about this record, Gary Bartz, Anti-U Troop. So I pulled my copy out. This is one of the finest examples of soul jazz from the 1970s. If you've never heard of Gary Bartz, Anti-U Troop, get Harlem Bush Music, and it's a trip. It's a great record with Andy Bay, Ron Carter, and others, maybe lesser known others. A great sort of it is. It has a spiritual dimension, but it's not a spiritual jazz record as you would imagine it to be. And then at the same time, that was earlier in the week, probably around the same time, I was listening to this really excellent orchestral funk album. This is Mladen Bobby Gutesha. Mladen Bobby Gutesha, and it's called Und. And it's a fantastic, spiritual, funky, lots of strings, lots of arrangements. It's got what has it got? Vocal, sax, flute, trumpet, trombone. So you got Sigrid Schwab on guitar. You've got people like no, the other ones I don't really know them either. But you've got like a full band. It's like really funky and orchestral, funky orchestral. Not very informative, is it? Well, this is a reissue on Sonorama, which is a German label, from 2012. The record itself is from 1972, and Mladen Gutesha, he's a Serbian conductor. It's great, yes. And since I'm talking about spiritual jazz, I'll make a little segue. Fantastic soul. What I mean is spiritual sort of gospel jazz mass. James Tatum. A really expensive record to buy as an original. One of the most pricey things that you can buy. I'm thinking of Andrew Chamsand when I show this record. Andrew, if you're watching this, I think you're partly responsible in me getting this record. This was reissued this year, earlier this year, and this is when I got it. And I must admit that I haven't paid it the attention that I should, and this week I actually played it a couple of times. This is number 724 out of 1,000 on Jazzman record. Great sounds. I mean, this is a fantastic record. Lots of vocals. Super deep spiritual record. Came out in, I'm guessing, in the late 60s or in the 70s, perhaps. Yeah, total holy grail. I mean, in terms of, and I think Andrew Champsand's got an original copy of it, which is very impressive. In a completely different register, I was saying, the variety of records is what you come here for. I was having listened to this record, which I've had on my shelves for quite some time, but I sort of, it's you got to be in the mood for Was That Was. So it's Don Was and his brother, I think David Was. Is that what their names are? David Was and Don Was. David Was is on alto sax, piano, vocals, and Don Was is on bass, moog, clavinet, vibes, and vocals. And then there's other people, obviously. But it's kind of like a disco, funky, post-punky album. It's not great, it's not like... There are some songs on there that are just almost unbearable. Like the second song, Where Did Your Heart Go? If you want to hear something that sounds really, really, under par, just just go for it. But overall as an album, it's got its moments. Like this was $5 when I bought it, so, and I kind of dig it. It's kind of like a timepiece, something of its time. It's on Z Records from 1981, I'm guessing. That's something like that. It's a US press. This, however, is a lot more interesting. The Life Tones for a Reason. The Life Tones. So, who are the Life Tones? Life Tones is the band that was led by vocalist, guitar player Charles Bullen from This Heat. I think you're familiar with This Heat. They're an English band, one of the most avant-garde post-punk English bands ever. And This Heat recorded like two albums, two made This Heat and This Heat. Yes. One has got a face that's really sort of apocalyptic, and once it's kind of a blue and yellow record. Well, this is kind of a follow-up from the vocalist, so you can recognize the vocals from This Heat. But this is a dub record, very dubby post-punk. It's on the same sort of plane of existence as things like Public Image Limited, Basement 5. If you know Basement 5, they were known as the Black Pill, So, but they were more dub influence. And the Slits are a big sort of reference point here. This is a really nice album. It's not a 10. But it's a solid 8, I'd say. It's a very, very nice record. And it's just been reissued by Light in the Attic, and I just got it this week. Basically, this is probably the only new record in this pile. It's really, really nice. I got this in the mail this week. Yeah. Oh, there you go. This is This Heat. This is the Deceit record, and this is their first record. Deceit. So, Charles Bullen. So you recognize the voice. It's a dub record. Here is a killer South African jazz record. I mean, killer record. Spiritual jazz from South Africa. One of the best. This is Hugh Masekela. Home is where the music is. I bought this at the last record fair that I attended with James Buttery and Anthony Camplone and Christian Mizzi. And one of the sellers had this for sale. I'm not going to unpack it because it's just... Oh, well, I might. Just a quite cumbersome package. It's really quite a wonderful record. It's an amazing piece of music. It's on Blue Thumb. Sequoia Flame would approve. It's just it's the bomb. This is just really amazing. Okay, I'll continue with a couple of CDs. Here is a CD that I picked up last year, I think last year on a road trip with my wife. We're just going to the beach, and there's a couple of thrift stores, and that was, $1 or something. Moonshake is the band, and this is his first album, Eva Luna, from 1992. Moonshake, a English band with connections to Stereolab and Spiritualized, so dabbling in sort of neo-crat rock, experimental rock, noise rock, kind of that sound. This is a fantastic album. This is a great, great album. Something that I've picked up on vinyl if I could. So from 1991, and it's an original pressing. Yes. And also, yesterday morning, I was revisiting the debut album by Goldfrapp, which is really a really nice album. I mean, I don't think I've played this for about 5 years at least, but I remember listening to this when I was living in the UK. This came out in 2001, which is when it's my second last year in England before I moved to Australia. And I used to listen to this a lot. I like her voice, and I like the mix of electronic and pop music. It's kind of neo synth pop, but with a sort of more sort of artistic endeavor. And Goldfrapp, Felt Mountain, highly recommended album if you haven't heard. Since we're talking about pop music, not the same era or style, but this is a superb record, the free design. The album is called Stars, Time, Bubbles, Love. It's a magnificent record. It's psychedelic pop, sunshine pop, if you like. But I really have a fondness for this kind of music. I don't have tons of it, like sort of bubblegum psych is not my thing. But this is great. I've got 3 of their albums, and I love them all. And this one is a high recommendation. Sorry, had to cut the last little bit abruptly because there's someone with a chainsaw outside. So, but coming back to the free design, yes, it's a fantastic album, and I highly recommend it. It's from 1967, I think, or something like 68. Next is again, the things that I've been playing this week. I dug out my copy of this wonderful singer-songwriter album by obviously Graham Nash that everybody knows, Songs for Beginners. His debut solo album from 1971. I don't know, it might make the cut for the Gimme 10 71, although I don't know that it will because there's so many great albums in 71. Arguably one of the best years in music, in my opinion. But this is a great album. You can pick this up for cheap usually, and from songs like Better Days and I Used to Be a King and Simple Man, and the closing track is fantastic, Chicago and We Can Change the World. It's a stunning record on Atlantic 1971 in a completely different register. We have this piece of cosmic electronic music, Baffo Bamfi, Ma Dolce Vita. This is on Innovative Communications, which is basically Klaus Schulze's label, so you sort of know what you're getting. Berlin School, He's an Italian guy. This is produced by Klaus Schulze. It's recording, mixed and mastered by Klaus Schulze. This is from 1979 to 1982, so we took a little bit of time to. It's a nice little album. It's progressive electronic music with lots of. He plays a Moog modular system, mini Moog, Yamaha CS80 Korg vocoder. So you get the gist. It's a nice little album. It's not essential or anything. Something that probably picked up a few years ago because it was cheap, and it's okay. It's good. You don't have to have a collection that's every single record is absolutely smoking. So you're allowed to have some records that are just good. Here is a record that's not just good. It's a record that is essential, in my opinion. Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy by Brian Eno. At the moment, my favorite Eno. Well, for the past maybe couple of years, my favorite Eno. It would change, I'm sure. Before and After Science used to be my favorite Eno, but this one is, especially like the opening track, Burning Airlines Give You So Much More. The Fat Lady of Limburg is great. And the closing track, Taking Tiger Mountain. For a non-musician, this is just like impeccable taste in music, really. And it features Robert Wyatt, Phil Manzanera from Roxy Music, Andy McKay from Roxy Music, Phil Collins is on this as well. It's a nice record from 1974, and when I do the 1974 installments, it'll probably appear there. I can almost guarantee it. Okay. Some indie records that I've been playing, indie post-punk records. This here, this is the Red House Painters, band from San Francisco, led by Mark Kozelek. This is the recent reissue from last year or early this year of Damn Colorful Hill, the album. From 97, 96, 97, I don't know, you look it up, which is a lovely slowcore acoustic sort of quite melancholy kind of piece. Really good, really good. You can't go wrong with these early albums by the Red House Painters. And likewise, I was playing The Good Earth by the Feelies, which is also a stunning album. It's got this really sort of percussive post-punk feel, Like their first record is obviously a cult classic, Crazy Rhythms. If you don't have, the Feelies, Crazy Rhythms is really one of the best post-punk records there is. But The Good Earth is a close second. It's very, very, very good. And the whole thing is just engaging, and as I said, it's percussive, and it's got this jangly kind of, it is quite jangly. It's a sort of got a power pop type of feel to it, whilst being post punk, if you like. The Feelies are a band from Hoboken in New Jersey, and they're great. I got a pair of Australian records here that I've been playing this week. The first one is an experimental jazz record, Magjad, the Melbourne contemporary jazz art duo, which is on Asia Recording, which is Brian Brown's recording label. So this has got two guys, Keith Hounslow and Tony Gold on piano, and spontaneous contemporary music improvisation. So it's an experimental jazz record basically, and it's quite good. Again, not mind blowing, but yes, quite a good record. And it's an Australian record, and I collect them. And you know what? With this thing, I bought it. I don't know, like maybe I'll just say a year ago or something in my local record store, and I just filed it and finally got around to playing it. And I was pleasantly surprised. It's good. And this is an electronic soundtrack by Andrew Thomas Wilson, The Chain Reaction, kind of a sort of B movie about some kind of apocalyptic scenario. This is all electronic, lots of Moog vocoders, Roland 700 flanges, and space echoes, and you name it. It's like a Vangelis record, all but in name. It's really like sort of drony, pulsating. What adjective can I use today? Drony, pulsating, something like that. Almost finished. I've got two more to go. Both of them are sort of post-punk records. This is The Numbers, Australian band from Sydney. The Numbers, they're like Australia's answer to Blondie, really. I mean, if I've got... They're a power pop band, power pop punk band, led by a girl. And the reason why I played this is because I was in my car driving and I was listening to the radio, and the opening track, 5-letter word, came on the radio, and I was going home, and so I was, I just wanted to hear it again, and I played the whole album. This is from 1981, I think. Sydney, Australia. Yeah. And I sent this to Jeff Glowing Cabbage, I think, back in the day. So Jeff, if you get this record, put it on. It's good. It's good shit. And finally, a shout out to a VC member who has disappeared completely, but I often think of you, Mike Bostonian Reggie. You sent me this a while back in a package. This is from Massachusetts, where you are from. This is some really, really gritty post-punk. In fact, when I was listening to this, it reminded me of The Fall a lot. It's really like an American answer to The Fall. Native tongue yell. This is a great record. If you live in America and you come across this, just pick it up. It's just brilliant. So Mike, Boston and Reggie, if you're watching this, just come and make a video. Come on, man. You can do it. Like it's not rocket science. Even I can do it. Okay, folks, that is all. I'm sure I've used way more time than I should. But if you stick with me, and you enjoy the record and leave me a comment and we interact together, it's good. It's all good. It's no one's been hurt in the making of this video. Well, we hope. I'll see you on Friday or Saturday for Give Me 10, 1971. Stay tuned.